All right, final playoff game, final first-round playoff game, Saturday night to wrap it up, Tennessee and Ohio State. We got the Ohio State Buckeyes, 7.5-point favorites, 47 the total in this game. Oh, boy. If I'm Tennessee, you know what my thought is coming into this game, and I'm saying it to my team if I'm Josh Heupel? Don't start on time. Start on time. Play your best football right out of the gate, because if you have a strong start in the first quarter and you get the lead, that stadium there in Columbus, it's going to turn tight. It's going to turn nervous. They're going to start turning on, everybody. Because in that Michigan loss at the end of the regular season at Ohio State, Michigan goes in there, 3-touchdown underdog, almost winning outright. When things started to go south in that game for Ohio State, especially with their offense, and Will Howard's getting booed, the offense is getting booed, Ryan Day is getting booed, it really, you could tell it was getting to Ohio State. It made them even more nervous, more tight, and they didn't play free. They didn't play an easy brand of football. And if you're Tennessee, your first goal, primary goal, C-Mac, get the lead. Put a seed of doubt in the Ohio State team. Put the seed of doubt in the fans, who are going to get all anxious, all nervous, all tight. Maybe the boo birds will start to come out if they have a bad start to the game, because they are feeling the pressure. And, Ryan Day's got to not only win this game, but probably have a long playoff run, at least maybe even to the championship game, probably for him to survive. Now, the problem here is Tennessee's offense kind of disappeared after the early incredible start where they were putting up monster numbers, but a lot of that was against weaker teams. I got to admit, Nico Iamaleava and the offense hasn't been nearly the dominant group we've seen down, early in the season. But once they got to play better defenses, look, they struggled and lost to Arkansas. They only put up 17 against Florida, only 24 or 23 against Florida, 24 against Alabama. Struggled in both of those games. It took a while for them to get rolling against Kentucky as well. And they had those games where, it was just a work in progress for the offense. But they did get rolling a bit down the stretch. Georgia, obviously, they struggled a bit. Now, they did get rolling a bit down the stretch. Mississippi State, though, UTEP and Vanderbilt were the opponents. I thought the Vanderbilt game, though, was still a pretty good game and a good sign for the offense, because Vanderbilt's not bad on defense. This year, they've been not bad on defense, and Tennessee had a heck of a day. It was 281 rushing yards with their great running back, Dylan Sampson. It was 257 yards through the air for Iamaleava against Vandy. That was a positive sign for this Volunteers offense that's kind of been up and down, in the latter part of the season. Now, Ohio State, let's see how healthy the O-line is for Saturday night, because they had a ton of injuries on the offensive line, and you could tell it's impacting the offense. Will Howard has less time to throw the ball, and all of a sudden the run game's not working as well. They had 77 rushing yards with Judkins and Henderson combined against Michigan. And the offensive line injuries, C-Mac, were a big reason for that.
I know.
Michigan. Now, are they going to get healthy bodies back? We'll have to see for Saturday night. There's still a lot of up in the air about multiple starting offensive linemen here for Ohio State. Where did the passing game go as well? And by the way, this Tennessee defense was very good for the most part this season. And so can they move the football effectively enough, Ohio State? And then you turn it around, though, and you see the defense, which all year people have just given Ohio State all kinds of praise about their defensive front, how good it is, how they get pressure on the quarterback, and all that. Well, when you actually look at the Michigan game, no sacks, none. All I heard was this great defensive front all year for Ohio State. Elite, one of the best in the country. No sacks against Davis Warren in that Michigan game. All I heard was how great they were stopping the run. And then all of a sudden, there's Michigan, C-Mac, 172 rushing yards. Khalil Mullings, 116 rushing yards against that Ohio State D. They couldn't stop the run all of a sudden. So you got a team that all year we raving about this D-line. Not so much me, but other people, pundits, observers, people that comment on college football. What a great defensive line, one of the best in recent memory. Really? I just saw Michigan. I saw them get 0 sacks against Michigan, this so-called great defensive front. And this so-called great defensive front, you can't run on them, people have said. And here's Michigan with 116 rushing yards from Mullings and 172 rushing yards as a team against Ohio State. There's too many cracks in the armor right now with Ohio State for me to lay 7.5. It's that simple for me in this football game. Take Tennessee or pass for me. And I'm probably going to grab the Vols a little bit. Now, I know for them, This is cold weather, Northeast, Sunday night, Saturday night for a SEC, Southeast U.S. team, SEC team, and that bothers me, kind of like we talked about with SMU. Do they shrivel in the cold, Tennessee, in this game? That is a concern, but I don't have the faith across the board in this coaching staff. I'll put it this way. You had all fucking year to prepare for Michigan, a Michigan team that's way down from last year, not even close to the McCarthy team and Harbaugh team last year. And you're chomping at the bit to beat them. You had all year to prepare for and game plan and get your team fucking ready to play Michigan this year. Much worse than they were last year. And you not only played awful football, both sides of the ball in that game, you lost outright as a 3-touchdown favorite to Michigan in that game. I have lost complete faith and confidence in Ryan Day and whatever coaching staff this is that he's got with him after that. This was the game you had circled all year. You needed it to get into the Big Ten championship game and even get a better seed in the playoff and a bye through to the quarterfinal. And that's the performance you put out there against a way down Michigan team compared to last year when they won the national championship. That's enough to say I can't lay 7. And it's more so not I can't lay 7.5 with the team. I don't know if I can lay 7.5 with this coaching staff. And just the miserable, even Chip Kelly with the game plan too. Like they abandoned the run too much. And some of the stuff was this, side to side stuff instead of going north south with the football. I mean, even the play calling from Chip Kelly was baffling at times in that loss to Michigan. Just collectively, this is a unit I feel they're tight. It's a noose around the collar. They're feeling some significant pressure. They're feeling some significant stress. If you don't believe me, listen to any of the quotes from Howard. You listen to any of the quotes from Ryan Day. There's some fucking stress right now and pressure on this football team. And you don't always play your best under this kind of pressure. And we're seeing it now from Ohio State. We saw it in the Michigan game. That game got close. They realized, wait, we're not going to blow these guys out. And the longer that game stayed close, the worse they started playing Ohio State. So your goal for Tennessee is get this to be a close game in the fourth quarter, and you can probably snatch it at the end with probably the waning confidence Ohio State has to pull out some of these games right now in the latter stages. So bottom line is Tennessee, anything above 7 for me is Tennessee or nothing for me in this game. C-Mac, what do you think?
Well, let's just get to what you hit on real quick is, jump on them. We talked all year how this is one of the worst first quarter teams in the country. Ohio State, slowest moving. They're not awake. They're not off the butt. I don't know what it is, but they seem to not get going really the second half.
Actually,
their second quarters have been
first quarter in this game. If you can find the first quarter spread on them.
Well, I started to have like kind of smaller bets because sometimes they'd be down 7-0 to like Northwestern, some of these teams, and then do you take them live? And that's something here too. Like if you like Ohio State, maybe wait, because I wanted to bring that up, just how bad they've been early. If they get down and you can get them just maybe win the football game of Tennessee, can get there. All the talk, like it can't be easy. Like you got to rise above the talk with Ryan Day. I mean, they want him gone. Yeah. Like even winning this game is not going to do it. Like it's basically they got to win it all. The title game. It's what I hear. He's out. So all year I talked about Howard. This is what are we going to do in the big games? I didn't think he'd come up clutch. And in games like this, I don't trust him that much, and I don't at all. So it's tough. Even though this is being at home in the real cold, like you were talking about, I think it's good for them. And they got to lean. Both these teams have good defenses, but man, that leads me to the under here. I don't trust really the offenses at all. Can that Tennessee defense that was pretty good? All year Georgia, they kind of gave it up. They left 31, but they only gave up 17 to Bama, 17 to Florida. They just were gritty, and the numbers show it. And of course, Ohio State, like you're talking about, all those crazy numbers. Now there was only 16 passes for Michigan, but I still get it. No sacks. It's not good for this front that they have been raving about. But I question, that O-line needs to be healthy with the 3 or 4 guys that have been banged up. They have to be able to run the rock here at Ohio State in this game at home to have success. So that just means tick, tick, tick. And that I'll look live like I talked about situation. That's the great thing with these two. We don't have to have a bet on something, and we'll all be watching these to look to make a bet live on what's going on. But pre-game here, I do like this under at this number. I'd be on the under or nothing here.
All right, there we go. Under or nothing here for I kind of lean under too. Like I said, I like the first two games over. I like the under in the Clemson game. I lean that way. The only concern is I don't always gravitate to betting on unders when it's in the 40s, when I know one of the teams is going to play lightning fast.
Yes, there's a little wiggle room.
Yeah,
but their offense isn't dynamic. No. That's the thing. Like to me, again, maybe against some of the bad teams, they look like it early on, but some of the play calling still has question marks for me. Where I think Ohio State will be all right, but I get what you're saying.
This deserves the Saturday night slot of the 4 playoff games just because of the drama and the tension surrounding Ohio State going into this game.
Yeah.
This is like a referendum on the whole, team and program under Ryan Day this game. And if it's a giant flame out and they're bounced in this game, there's going to be some changes. There is no question about that. But that's a fascinating viewing experience Saturday night with the 4th and final first-round playoff game in the shoe between Tennessee and Ohio State. All right, there you have it. That is our show for this week. We appreciate everyone joining us. Shout out to everyone in the chat.